I'm pretty sure we've all been there, spending 4 months growing something only to find out you can buy it at the grocery store for $2. So today, I'm gonna give you 3 crops that personally I think are probably the biggest waste of time when it comes to growing in your garden, solely because you can buy them for less. The flavoring is not much better when you grow it at home. And ultimately, we don't want to make our compost pile richer than us. So let's get into it. There's Kane. He's the director, creative inspiration for the whole video all the time. If you don't know who I am, my name is Ashley. I have a bachelor's of science in soil science, and I like to take said science and apply it to the garden. So gardening isn't just about soil health, something beautiful to look at, and food preservation. There's a little bit more to it sometimes. And ultimately, we are looking for our best return, whether it's emotional fulfillment, visual aesthetics, or filling up our refrigerator, our cans, and our freezer. So I actually combed through the data, through StatsCan's data, in regards to how much a lot of these groceries cost, which ones don't make sense to grow in your garden, and kind of the science behind why, nutrient value-wise and all that sort of stuff. It doesn't matter if you buy it from the grocery store because it probably mimics what's in your garden identically. But speaking of math and stats, that actually brings me to today's sponsor, Brilliant. Brilliant is a learning app that actually makes math and science stick in your brain after you learn it. Every single lesson is a game, literally, on an app. There's no just simply watching videos and taking notes like I know many of you in the Geek Crew do with my channel, for example. This app is a ton of fun for adults and for kids. I know a lot of people in the Geek Crew have actually gotten this app for their children, but let me tell you, yes, your kids can use it, obviously, but you yourself may find some serious value in it. And that, I'm not joking at all. I'm dead serious, particularly if you're looking at concepts that you don't know much about, for example, like AI and that sort of thing. Now, the crazy part about having a hands-on app for learning is that it has been shown that it is 6 times more effective. I know all of us out there have taken notes and that we remember things better when we are writing things down rather than just listening. The best part is that it keeps you consistent. You only need to use it a couple minutes a day or more if you become obsessed with it, because it is a game, which is perfect for anyone who's on the go because you can literally do it while your gas tank's getting filled up. Talking, Stanford, MIT, Caltech, all being brought together to help develop each individual lesson and course. So if you want to train your inner soil scientist and channel your inner Ashley, or maybe simply you just want to get better at deciphering the information you get from a ton of different sources, I heavily encourage you to go check out Brilliant. Simply scan this QR code right here or type in brilliant.org/gardening in Canada. Or there's a link in the description, or there's a link in the pinned comment. And Geek Crew, if you use these links or that QR code, you will get 20% off an annual premium subscription with Brilliant so you can cultivate your knowledge the entire year. Let's take the math in my brain and get into the video of the 3 crops that you just are completely useless to grow. Okay, crop number 1 is onions. And I think this one is pretty obvious because many in the Geek Crew have also said that this is completely useless. Here's the thing. Your average Canadian, according to Stats Canada, spends around $76 a year just on onions. And at $2.2 per kilogram on average throughout Canada, my garden bed yielded somewhere around $12 in onions, which, no, they don't take a ton of fertilizer, but they do take up space. They take up room. They do take up some effort. And I don't find the flavor to be hugely different. Now, with that being said, I do really like the Calaceae onions. So I do grow them every single year. But if you're limited on space, if you truly want to grow a garden to reduce the grocery bill, if you're obsessed with making sure the crops you grow have a different flavor, texture, etc., so forth, compared to that of something that you get from the grocery store, onions just simply are not it. Now, here's the other reason why onions aren't the best: the time investment. You have to start these suckers from seed in February. And I personally find that the bulbs or these sets are not nearly as good at producing a yield compared to actual seeds. So in my mind, the starting of these in January and February is an absolute must. What we call these crops from the perspective of a producer on a large scale is low yield per unit of time. So essentially, it's not so much looking at the yield and the space it takes up in your physical area, as much as it's looking at the yield compared to the time in which that plant is occupying that space. Okay, this next one is going to be hugely controversial. That is potatoes. Yes, I said it. Potatoes. Okay, hear me out here. They are flavor profile-wise much better from the garden, but that's only because they haven't been cured yet. So if you grow potatoes like in a container for fresh eats, yes, there's a big flavor difference. But once you cure these potatoes, the ones from your garden, they taste identical to the ones you get from the grocery store. Anyone who's done large scale potato farming to try to get you through a winter knows exactly what I'm talking about. Geek Crew, who does this, please help me out in the comments below before I get sacrificed like my ancestors that were redheaded and left-handed as well. But seriously, here's why I think potatoes are kind of a waste of time when it comes to a garden space if you have limited space. So Stats Canada clocked potatoes in with the following stats. $57 per year is what your average Canadian spends on potatoes. And with a 10-pound bag averaging around $10.43. I personally don't eat a lot of potatoes, despite the fact that they're very calorie rich. They have a very wide profile of vitamins and minerals. So they're actually kind of like a superfood, to be totally honest. But besides the fact that they take up a substantial amount of space, they're also a crop that I find a lot of people struggle with getting actual large-sized potatoes from. Now, there's many Geek Crew members out there that have listened to me when it comes to how to grow potatoes properly. I will just put examples up on the screen of Geek Crew people who have actually sent me their photos to show me that what I told them to do worked, because I know it's science. I don't screw around. I never lie to you guys, actually. I'm very incredibly blunt, which gets me in trouble sometimes with the internet. Regardless, if you followed my instructions, even say, did the whole helling and the fluffing and the blah, 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 there are some things to consider. So first off, Colorado potato beetle. They can be very bad. And if you've had them year after year after year, it may be time to take a break from potatoes, because this will help kill off that population, which in turn will allow you to grow potatoes in the future. So that may be one reason. Another reason may come from the fact that you're doing a no-till, low-till garden. So you guys know I have no bias towards tilling or not tilling. I think you personally need to use what works for your garden and your soil type. However, if you had something like a sandier soil that personally I do not think would benefit from being tilled, it'd actually probably be to the soil's detriment, and you have to till it to get potatoes that yield anything of value, hands down, no, there's no arguing that, you're destroying all the hard work that you put into it. So for me personally, potatoes is one that I do think you guys can skip. Okay, so this next one is completely based off of Stats Canada and not so much preference, if that makes sense, because I do actually grow this, and I'll explain the reason for why I personally grow my own later. But for your average Canadian, the growing of cabbage or brassicas in general, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, does not make sense other than to say you did it. So unfortunately, I don't have, data for all of Canada, but I do have Ontario 2022's data on cabbage. So I can assume it is much more than this, but it's $2.35 per kilogram. And cabbage, as many of you know, is a ginormous plant. Broccoli is a ginormous plant. All of these things are ginormous plants. They take up a ton of room, and they are literal bug magnets. Every bug you could imagine loves these things. The aphids love them. Really gross green thingies love them. Like literally, it's like nonstop the amount of plants. Flea beetles love them. Literally everything wants to chew on these things. So here's the nuance to this and why I grow my own. I grow my own Copenhagen cabbage. That may be a cultural thing more so than anything else. So I live in Saskatchewan. Anyone who's not from Saskatchewan may not know this, but we have a very high population of Ukrainians. I am not Ukrainian. I have zero Ukrainian blood in me. However, I can appreciate, if not be completely addicted to, / only sought out relationships with men that were Ukrainian for the sole purpose of having cabbage rolls and pierogies in my life, because they are food staples, just like popcorn and ice cream. So I love homemade cabbage rolls. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. They're not the greatest when you buy them from the store, if you can even find them at the store. So that is why I grow my own. You don't have to grow your own still, even if you want to go the route of cabbage rolls, because you could go to the Hutterites, which are similar to like the Amish in the US. I think you guys have Hutterites too. I don't know, but Canadians have Hutterites, and they do grow very large cabbage for a reasonable price. Anyways, you need the big leaves to be able to make a good cabbage roll. My grandma, who was German, did the German cabbage rolls, which, by the way, are much better than the Ukrainian cabbage rolls. Just Germans don't have pierogies, so they kind of lose in a sense. But the German ones are good. The Ukrainian ones are good. And you need a big leaf to do either of them. Just regular cabbage from the store for things like sauerkraut, fresh salads, for chopping and freezing, for casseroles, whatever the case is. Just go buy it. Go buy it because of the headache it causes. If you guys have watched this channel long enough, you know what my cabbage plot looks like. It is dusted with diatomaceous earth. It's constantly sprayed down with sulfur. It is netted for the entire year. So all I'm looking at is a white netting over top of it at all times. It bolts in some years, so you really got to be careful about where you put it. It is such a sensitive plant. So I personally don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. And cabbage juice, is that even like a juice you can juice and get satisfying results from? I feel like no. Now, here are things you can put in its place in your garden that make more sense to me. They have the same crunch, they have the same texture, they have the same flavor, and the same application for the most part, and that was pak choi or bok choy. So these two are a little bit more pricey at the grocery store when they are fresh. And they also are wonderful for growing right now in the fall and or very early spring. They don't do well in the middle of summer. They're one of like the first crops you can physically get off of your garden. And they are wonderful in stir fries. Absolutely wonderful in stir fries. I give the stir fry, it's like the crunch that water chestnuts give, for example. Personally, I love. So there you have it, Geek Crew. Those are my 3 crops that I truly believe are a waste of time and money. You have to let me know in the comments down below what you think is a waste of time and money. If you like this video and you want a video on probably the 3 most valuable cash crops I believe that are out there, then let me know in the comments down below. And I will talk to you guys next time.